Greetings, historians. Welcome to Lore of the Dragon. So, before this gets started, I'm a little sick. So, if my voice sounds a little off, that's probably the reason why. Anyway, to get this video started, I'm going to be somewhat finishing something I started about half a year ago. For those who don't know, I started a project to have fans give ideas for how they would make Spyro 4, or at least what exactly they wanted in the game. To make sure that the ideas that were given aren't lost, I'm going to be ending this in a slightly different way than I intended. I'll be covering the ideas given in this community project, and what the story was generally supposed to be. But still, this will be an abbreviated but fan-made version of what people want to see from Spyro 4, at least what I was told. Now, if I'm being honest, a lot of the story I've kind of just lost, and there's some important things I need to bring up for the channel soon, so drafting up another one might not be feasible. So I'll get at what I can, and I'll be sharing something in the description which I'll mention later. Sorry to everyone who expected a detailed part 2, but I hope that what is provided here does give a bit of an idea of what the community made for Spyro 4. Keep in mind, this is not actually Spyro 4. This is a bunch of ideas made by fans and compiled into one project. If you want to know what exactly is going on, go down in the description below and I'll have videos talking about this project, which is named Unleash the Dragon Prompt and Part 1. When we left off, a year after Year of the Dragon, the main idea was that Spyro travels between Avalar after he is alerted to a danger there who, given the attack on Avalar and some returning minions of his, was believed to maybe be Ripto. Later, after fighting through many altered but old levels, he travels to the arena where Ripto and him fought, but through a crack, he falls into a portal and is taken to another realm. Spyro runs into Legend of Spyro characters making their return in this new Spyro game, such as Ignitus, and asks if they've heard of Ripto, but this version of Ignitus said he couldn't find anything. However, new abilities would become available, upgraded fire attacks and whatnot. The new realm would also be divided into 4 parts, each representing an element, where you would get new elements and so on. Spyro, after a while, went back to Avalar to continue his quest, and that's where we left off. The idea of following would have continued that, with Spyro traveling between Avalar and this new realm, which we would later learn was divided between 4 guardians, though there were more guardians lurking around. You would have traveled to places like Warfang later, and even meet Cinder, who would become a playable character in a larger part of the story. Along the way, you would find lore pieces telling you the stories of the world, and some that could even tie into the main story. There were even suggestions from people that said that the relationship between Spyro and Cinder could be built up to something, so that's a possibility as well. But how far that goes in this version of Spyro 4, I'm not sure. Over the course of the story, Spyro's character would be a large subject of development. Other questions would be asked, and assumptions we thought about Spyro might be challenged. That would have gone into relations with other characters, his look on the world, and so on. Now, Ripto, on the other hand, would be found not to be the source behind the attack on Avalar, but a different villain we haven't seen in Reignited, presumably the Sorcerer or Red, maybe even Malefor. In general, the main story was finding the mystery behind the attack on Avalar and stopping it. However, in other realms with Warfang, you could explore and find that there are different stories going on there. Perhaps this could lead to some sort of DLC if we really wanted to take it that far. Some stories included where the female dragons were, some might have to do with the light and dark dragons, villains from other stories would come around, and that could lead up to the next game. As for gameplay, new elements would be given throughout the game, some either by default, by going to a guardian, or maybe through some sort of quest. Extensions of these elements would be Spyro's own Winter Guardian appearance, maybe even other Guardian appearances would show depending on what element was being used. Time trials would be a thing for various levels, something more akin to a less stressful Crash Bandicoot, maybe collecting gems in a certain amount of time, just something that's a bit more relaxed. This game ultimately, no matter how I look at it, would have led to an entire trilogy, allowing itself to make a new formula when it came to how the games sort of tell their stories, with Spyro 4 being more of an overarching story rather than an isolated one, like its predecessor Year of the Dragon. However, this Spyro 4 and the trilogy would keep aspects of the way Spyro told its stories, to make sure that there was some level of balance and continuity. Going forward, I honestly didn't have an idea for the original story set for, let's say, Spyro 5 and 6, so I'll leave that entirely up to your imagination to figure out those. Overall, though, while I wish I could have made this as in-depth as the first part, hopefully this gives the community a chance for their ideas to be shown. In fact, I'm going to be leaving the notes from what I gathered in the first part as a Google Doc in the description, so that you yourself can read through the ideas that were presented. Along with that, I'll be going through the names of everyone who participated just to give credit where credit is due. And those will be popping up just right now. Thank you to everyone who did participate, and again, sorry I couldn't quite make this as in-depth as the first part. Anyhow, that'll be it for me. If you want to stay updated on things relating to the channel, follow me on Twitter or keep an eye on the community tab here on YouTube. Or, if you'd rather just talk to people in the community, feel free to join the Discord. And now, Patreon time. I'm going to give a shout out to Abyssal Blue and Echo Restored for the red gems, and Kiyasu Shin for the blue gem. Thank you so much. So, right now, the Patreon isn't really anything more than a tipping jar. Right now, it's mainly just there so that if there's a commission I want to get for the channel, it's there and I have something saved up for that. But that's going to be it for me. I'll see you all the next time we talk lore and speculation. Stay safe, historians.